What temperature are we supposed to drink our water?
Room temperature.
Room temperature.
Some temperature.
Now, when you're in the summer and it's 106 degrees, that room temperature water is going to get hotter. So you may need to add a few ice cubes to cool it down, but it's going to take it to room temperature of a normal day. You get what I'm saying? But it's not going to be, if you have hot boiling, for example, on a cold winter day, if it's 25 degrees outside, you leave your water bottle in the car. What happens to your water? It freezes, right? So on a day that's 115 degrees and you leave your water bottle, have you ever touched the water bottle? What is it? Is that room temperature? So you might need to add a little ice to bring it down to the normal temperature. So, but that doesn't mean you drink ice cold water. Is that understandable? Okay. So, it says the more liquid there is taken into the stomach with the meals, the more difficult it is for the food to digest. For the liquid must first be absorbed. What subject are we dealing with today? Digestion. When you drink with your food, what does the liquid do to your food?
Dilutes.
It dilutes the hydrochloric acid that's in the stomach. So does it break down the way it's supposed to? So what does it do in your stomach? But what does it do when it doesn't break down?
What does what do?
The food.
It ferments.
Ferments.
It rots, that's right. And then that goes into your bloodstream, right? So do you have health? So this is why we cannot drink with our meals. And C with the slash over it stands for with in nursing. Just easier for me to write. So no drinking with meals. She does say, however, now I made this comment last week. I've heard a lot of people teaching the health message say wait 2 hours. I have not read that anywhere. I have read where she said if necessary, you can drink a little bit before your meals and a little bit after. But if you wait 2 hours to drink, guess what can start setting in? Dehydration. Are we supposed to be dehydrated? No, because the cells get affected if we're dehydrated. So some people say 2 hours. I have not found that. That doesn't mean that's not in there. But if anyone can find where she says 2 hours after we eat, please show it to me. What she does say is don't drink with our meals. And of course, if you've just eaten a 4-course meal, you don't want to go and drink a 2 liter of water right after you've eaten. But sometimes your lips are dry. You need to quench that thirst. Is that understandable? So no drinking with meals. Number 8, eating too quickly. What did your mom tell you when you were a child?
Slow down.
Slow down.
Yes, and your food's not going anywhere, right? But if you have brothers and sisters, it might, right? Right. And I was taught as a child, my mom always told me, chew your food 32 times, literally. And then she told me, don't drink with your food, and then when I read Sister White's books, I was like, my mother must have read some Seventh-day Adventist books. Found out she went to nursing school at Loma Linda in the 60s. Isn't that something? My mother was telling me as a child, see, the Lord was preparing me. So as I was reading it, it brought me to my mother, like, she told me all these things. But it doesn't say chew it 32 times, but that was a rule in my house. Literally, sit there and count it 32 times before I could swallow. Okay, number 9. I won't tell you what this one is just yet. Counsels on Diets and Foods, page 107, paragraph 4, and 109, paragraph 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this right? 107, paragraph 4. Okay, this is it. If we would work for the restoration of health, it is necessary to restrain the appetite. What does that mean?
Hold.
That's right. To eat slowly and only a limited variety at one meal. This instruction needs to be repeated frequently. How often? What does that mean?
Daily.
That means very often, right? Listen to the instruction. She said this instruction needs to be repeated frequently. It is not in harmony with the principles of health reform to have so many different dishes at one meal. She says it is not in harmony, and she says this needs to be repeated frequently. Why? What do we do at potlucks? And I've been guilty of this. What do we do at potlucks? We have a whole slew of items on our plates, right?
Yeah, choices.
Yes. That's why she said it needs to be repeated frequently, because we like food. And this is not here to criticize any, but I like to eat. If you ask me what is one of my favorite things to do, I enjoy eating. I'm not going to joke. But we have to be temperate in it. And we have to learn, and God is calling us to come up higher. But she said this is something that is to be repeated frequently. Now in page 109, paragraph 5, and 110, paragraph 1. She says, do not have too great a variety at a meal. 3 or 4 dishes are plenty. So, no more than 3 to 4 dishes at a meal. Now let me ask you a question. Are we God's last day people? Are we waiting for Jesus to come? Do we really want to live by everything that comes out of the mouth of God?
Amen.
Is this the mouth of God?
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Because the spirit of prophecy is not the writings of the prophet. I mean, it's not her words. It's from the Lord. Now, 3 to 4 dishes. What are we told not to do before our brethren? Not put a what before them?
Stumbling block.
Not put a stumbling block. If you put all these food items before people, they're going to eat them. Are we supposed to look out for our brother and sister? Yes. We are told in Testimonies, volume 6, I believe it's page 370 and 371, God is not going to bless our churches. He is not going to bring in all these new people into the faith. We see a lot of people, but they're from this church, that church. He's not going to bring in new believers into the faith if we're not living the health message in our churches, because she said we're going to be a hindrance to them. So God is telling us no more than 3 to 4 dishes. And she said if we have dessert, it's supposed to be included on the table, so that when we go to pick our food, we can decide. Now here's what I'm saying. If we have pasta, there's different types of pasta. So one person could cook lasagna, one could, it doesn't have to be everybody brings spaghetti. You get what I'm saying? And then everybody can choose which pasta they want. Or they can have, it's pasta, pasta's pasta. We just don't need to eat a whole bunch of it. I don't need this lasagna and this spaghetti. And we've all been guilty of this. I know I have. I'm not going to say I haven't. But God is calling his people to come up higher. And this is a part of our health message. And this is a part of the physiology of digestion. And she says if our digestion is sour, we are going to be sour Christians. Is that understandable? And once again, this is not to criticize, because I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. God has a message for his people. Okay. So we said too many items. You guys ever heard about that? No sour bread? You ever heard of sourdough bread?
Yes.
Do you know we're not supposed to eat it?
Yes.
Yes. We are told in bread should never have the slightest taint of sourness. Does sourdough bread have a taint of sourness?
Yes.
Yes. We should not, as Seventh-day Adventist Christians who adopt the principles of health, be eating sourdough bread. It should be cooked until it is most thoroughly done. Thus, all softness and stickiness will be avoided. No sour bread. Okay, number 11, and some of these I don't need to read the quotes. You're going to have the handout sent to you. Eating at, no eating at improper times. Let's mention some improper times.
Between meals.
Between meals, very good. You said midnight, but what about, okay, how many many meals a day are we supposed to eat? Maximum. 3 meals. Some 2, but some, if the men out there working hard and sawing and cutting wood or doing the heavy trash, whatever, they need that 3rd meal. All right? We're supposed to have a break fast, right? To break the fast that we fasted through the night. That means we should be eating by 9 o'clock in the morning to break that fast. Because when you don't, your sugar starts to drop. So if we eat at 9 o'clock, let's say 9 is the latest and we eat. What's 5 to 6 hours from 9? Okay, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. 2 o'clock from 9 o'clock. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. All right? So let's say 2:30. Now, if you eat that 3rd meal, you're going into 7:30. Science says we shouldn't eat after 6 o'clock. Did you guys know that? Medical science saying that. So if we're going to have 3 meals, we should eat 6, 7 o'clock in the morning so that we can eat 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because we're supposed to spread our meals how many hours apart? 5 to 6 hours. I'll read the quote in just a moment. 5 to 6 hours apart. And should the 3rd meal be macaroni and cheese, cabbage, potatoes? What should the 3rd meal be?
Light.
What? Tell me something light. Fruit is wide back bread, toast. Absolutely. Should we be eating peanuts? No, we don't want anything heavy. Right, we don't want anything heavy. We want toast and fruit. Or maybe a granola, a light granola.
So salad is too heavy?
Salad is too heavy.
Oh, okay.
Yes, for the evening meal.
So if we're only eating 2 to 3 meal items a meal.
3 to 4.
3 to 4 items a meal.
Yes.
If we're only eating 2 meals and that 2nd meal should just be light toast and fruit, how is it that we get all of our nutrition that we need for the day in
Makes
that?
sense.
No. The 3rd meal, if you're having a 3rd
If we're
meal,
not having a 3rd meal, I'm saying. If we're not having a 3rd meal, if we're just doing 2
you
meals.
can have your 4 items on your 2nd meal, but you don't want to have your 2nd meal after 6 o'clock at night. The 3rd meal, we're talking about if you have the 3rd meal, that is to be the lightest meal of the day.
No, I'm talking about.
That's where you have, okay, let me
2
give you,
meals.
okay, we'll do breakfast. I'll give you a great example, okay? Breakfast, and let's say supper. And let's say I eat this at 8 o'clock, okay, and I finish at 8:30. So 6 hours later, let's say 2:30, I'm eating this 2nd meal, right? So for breakfast, I have a bowl of granola,
That's your grain.
okay? That's your grain.
And your nuts.
Nuts too.
If there's nuts in it.
Yes.
We're gonna add nuts.
Okay.
We're gonna have nuts. Or you can have
Raisins in it.
peanut butter or cashew butter or almond butter, okay? Or nut butter. Now, how many fruit should we have? If we're only gonna eat 2 meals in a day, how many fruit minimum should we have?
3 or 4?
3 fruit. 3 to 4 fruit. Okay? And it should be a variety of fruit. Handful of strawberries, a few cherries, a banana. Now, if you could do this to a banana, that's 2 servings. Half a banana. If you can do this to a banana and cover that banana with your 2 hands, that's 2 servings. Half is 1 serving. So you don't need to eat that entire banana. You could serve half to your child.
So you're gonna eat a bowl of granola.
I'm not done yet. Hold
I'm
on,
sorry.
That's okay.
The nut butter, you're gonna put it on a bread or something?
Yes. I'm gonna have 3 to 4 fruit, and then you're gonna have like 1 to 2 slices of a healthy bread. And that's another thing we're gonna be talking about. Do you know that eating bread she says we must eat bread, that's a part of our health message? She said there's more religion in a loaf of bread. That bread is something that is very essential. Now, when I say bread, am I talking about your Weber's or your Wonder that you can smash like a pancake? Ezekiel 4:9 bread, or your homemade bread at home with your whole